Ladies, welcome to the Feminine Mystery. My name is Azalea Dawn, and on my channel I talk about leveling up, hypergamy, femininity, and everything you need to attract the right masculine provider for you. So if any of that sounds interesting for you, then please check out the rest of the videos on my channel and subscribe if you like it. And if you're joining me back here again after having subscribed, thank you for coming back. I'm thrilled to have you. Today's topic is all about the 5 places that I think that Black women should travel to expand their minds and really start to learn some different things. And the reason that this topic was on my mind is because, for starters, I am Black American, if that wasn't, abundantly clear. I am a Black woman in America, and I have been thinking a lot about the, kind of like the state of things, like the state of affairs in the American Black community, especially for Black women. There's a lot of, discourse and chaos going on, especially on the internet. I think that if you are somebody who is a Black woman in America, you probably have like a very particular life experience. Maybe you were born in the American South like I was. Maybe you are in a predominantly Black community, and the things that people are saying to you that are like the things that people are communicating in these podcasts with all of these random like bros just like sitting around and like talking to each other about like what's going on as far as like Black women in relationships, that probably does have like real material consequences to you, because that is the discourse of the community that you live in, that you date in, that you work in even, right? What I wanted to start to like get you to think about and get you to explore is that there's an entire world beyond all of that dysfunction, all of that, chaos, frankly. And I think that one of the things that is kind of pernicious about the experience of being, a Black woman in America, not that, this is going to be like a particularly like racial channel from like here on out. It is not that. I definitely make content for women of all races, and all life experiences who want to, attract a masculine provider and level up their lives. But this is one video that is specifically targeted towards the experience of being a Black woman in America, right? You are in a situation, in my opinion, where people who are actively sort of like preying on you, to be honest, people who stand to gain from your lack of self-confidence, of self-efficacy, of autonomy, right? People are all around you who directly benefit from really your oppression. People who want to oppress you, to make you feel as though you can't do anything else, you can't be anything else, you can't go anywhere else. I'm all that you have. You're going to have to depend on me, so you're going to have to say and do what I think you should do, right? I think that message is very real to you when you don't have a certain perspective on the world and the fact that you can just go somewhere else. Frankly, to be honest, the fact that you can literally just pick your butt up and go somewhere else. You can live somewhere else. You can meet people who are not anything like this whatsoever. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. And I wanted to talk about 5 places that you should really go to show yourself that this is the case, right? To show yourself firsthand that the reality that these people are trying to like box you into is not the reality that is there and available for you. At any point, you can pick things up and you can choose to change your life. So without further ado, let's get into what these 5 places are. The first place that I think that a Black woman should travel to is to get that passport and head to Positano, Italy. Now, why Positano specifically? I think that first and foremost, like, it's a great investment. It's a great, like, a return on your investment for your money, because the scenery, the background, the place is so iconic that as you're taking pictures, as you are putting your iPhone to good use, like, those pictures are so iconic in nature that you're really going to get a lot of value out of that. So whether or not you are somebody who's looking to like level up on your social media and you want to be like posting, like different things on like Instagram or, like what have you, this is going to be a great opportunity for that. But I also think that it's a very particular experience of luxury, right? I think that the thing that people kind of like miss with Positano in particular is that it's not like, like this 5 seasons, like 4 seasons, excuse me. That's so embarrassing. I was just thinking about something else, but it's not like this entire like, oh, like 4 seasons Hawaii kind of like experience where you can have, you know, like all of these different like amenities and this and that and the third going on. It's very you're here for like the natural beauty of the world around you, right? So it's going to be some place that is shaped by a history of volcanism in the land. So there's a lot of, you know, like walking all around. There's a lot of, you know, like walks from here to there, uphill, downhill, like whatever, a lot of, you know, like odd, you know, like beaten paths, you know, things of that nature where you're gonna have to get out there and really be physical with your body in a way that you really wouldn't if you were like staying at like this like 5-star resort in the United States. In contrast to that, I think is just really healthy to like understand about like the reality of luxury. I think it also is a place that really reframes what it is to, you know, have and own a boat, right? And it's a great place to sort of like meet the kind of person that really does own like a large yacht, for example. And who spends the day in that sort of thing. I think that there's just so much to be learned, whether it is, you know, dining and, you know, putting etiquette to good use, or exploring local cultures, or just, you know, getting out and meeting and mingling with people who are someplace to have a good time in a context that isn't so, you know, like party heavy. It's not about, you know, like being drunk or being sloppy or, you know, like falling off of, you know, like a balcony because like you just had too much alcohol. It's not that kind of vibe, but it is a vibe where people are looking to, you know, like meet and mingle, get to know other people. They're there to have a good time. They're there to, you know, like network essentially and build their social networks as well. So I think that Positano is just like a really good vibe for the Black woman who's looking to level up and who maybe has never left the country before, because I also think that this is a great place to go because it is so small, so localized, and so kind of fenced off from the rest of everything else just by the natural geography first and foremost, right? So that when you are, you know, like maybe like this is your first time overseas, this is someplace you can go and not really like get into anything too heavy or like be exposed to a situation that might not be the safest or something like that. I think that this is a great place to go also like with friends, you know, like if you have Black women who are also like looking to travel, looking to go and experience something new in their lives for the first time, maybe that's your 2023 goal. I think that this is a great place to, you know, like have like a little bit of like a summer vacation, a summer trip to go to. So yeah, that's Positano. Next up, we're going to be taking on the American Northeast. I would recommend going to Newport, Rhode Island. Now, the American Northeast is actually where I live, and I would say that this is something that I really wanted to include here because I think it entirely recontextualizes your experience, right, as a Black woman, especially if you're somebody who is from the American South. You grew up like maybe in a Black community, and that's just where you've always been. That's just the kind of, you know, quality of person that you've always been around, right? Newport, Rhode Island is such a radically different experience, and I really think that it's important for you to get out and to have that experience, honestly. I think that I think the first thing to say about that is that you really want to start to ask questions about the kind of like narratives that you've been fed in your life, right? Like whether that narrative is that, you know, certain people are quote unquote racist in that they have something against you for your skin color, or that you are maybe being like fed this sort of like victim mentality, right? Around like, oh, like because my skin color is this, people are gonna have a problem with me, or because my background is this, people are going to do this, that, and the third to me. And I think that it's just, you know, like healthy to question that for yourself. Maybe you go somewhere and you do have that experience and it reinforces what you currently believe, and that's fine. But I also think that you should hold open the possibility that maybe there is something else going on and that you could, go and experience that for yourself. Maybe you find that it's the case that, all of these people who are trying to control you, right? All of these, like men, for instance, who are in your community, who are saying things, trying to convince you essentially that there's no better that you can do, that certain men from certain racial groups or certain histories, whatever, would not accept you as a romantic partner, or would not, be attracted to you for whatever reason. It's just important, in my opinion, that you get out and you start to experience things for yourself that help you question and, explore whether or not these things that you've been told in your life are in fact true. And I think that Newport Beach is such, like a radical way to really explore that for yourself. Plus, there's, just a lot of great stuff up and around this area. There is great seafood. There are great restaurants. Things are relatively affordable. You can stay in, places that are relatively nice, relatively upscale for an affordable price. And you can also explore a lot of natural history. So there's, a lot of like stuff to do in the area as well. A lot of like sightseeing, a lot of art. It's just, all around a great place to, just go and explore and expose yourself to a different part of America, honestly, than the one that you might be from or that you might be familiar with. And just to, see how that kind of that experience starts to reframe how you think about the world. Next up, we have Santa Barbara, California. Now, Santa Barbara is a very particular experience of American luxury, and this area in particular is great to travel to because it is a place out of all of the places in, America that celebrity after celebrity after celebrity, they choose to live here, right? From, Oprah, she has a home in the area, I believe, to Gwyneth Paltrow, to Harry and Meghan Markle, right? They all, live in this area. This is where they've chosen to, settle down and reside. And that's because of not just, the access to, this broader community, Montecito to Santa Barbara is not, far, but it's also because of just the natural beauty of this area. So it's a very particular experience of luxury that I think, really exposes you to the best of California without, kind of roughing it in the way that if you're familiar with LA and San Francisco, right, those are a little a little challenged areas. In particular, Santa Barbara is much much easier than I would say either of those areas are, and it really gives you the best of what California has to offer as far as gorgeous scenery, great weather, lots of sunshine, and a lot of celebrity spotting. And great wine, too, of course. I think that what you can really stand to learn here, and what this is as far as an investment in yourself, is again that exposure to a different way that people live, right? A different definition of what affluent is. Because you will start to, explore here and there, and even if you just, go around and experience a very leisurely life. Let's say you just Airbnb out here, you are just gonna go about a daily life, doing whatever you would do as if you were one of the locals in the area instead of sightseeing or what have you, right? You're just going to go pick up groceries. Maybe you're going to go to some restaurants here and there. You're just going to go around doing a little bit of light shopping and just people watching in the area. What could you expect to find? Well, first you would expect to you could expect rather to see what couples actually look like out here, right? And it can start to push back on this idea of what a quote-unquote high-value man is per this discourse in the Black community, because high value in the context of Black men is very, very different than high value in the context of everybody else, right? I think that is the kind of message that you can really get from traveling to a place like this. It can really have you start to think about what might really be possible for you in your level up process outside of this idea, like, oh, like you're working, you're bending over backwards to get some guy who makes, six figures, quote unquote, like he makes $100,000 a year, and like in exchange for that, you have to let this guy degrade you and cheat on you openly and whatever else that, like a certain now deceased YouTuber was once talking about. Like, going up to a place like this is really going to help break you free from that mindset, in my opinion, and just start to expose you to what affluence, what high value really is. Next up, we have Aspen, Colorado. Now, Aspen is really the place to be for, all of, the affluent of America, especially in winter. And I think, having this experience is really going to start to recontextualize, again, true luxury and what's available to you as a Black woman and, here as an American as well. I think that Aspen is best done around, obviously Christmas time, but any time in December, I would say even early December is a great time to go and do Aspen. Up until New Year's. Now, I will say that January in Aspen is probably not a good idea for you if you're a woman, period. I think that unless like you're going with like a gay man, like a gay best friend, or you are a gay man, January is really just not when you want to do Aspen. So don't try to like skip out on like the right time, like December, just in favor of lower prices. You really want to make sure that you are there when it's best for you to be there as a woman. Like beyond that is such like an awkward topic, but yeah, peace and love to everybody. As far as like Aspen, I think that what this can really start to show you again is that experience of luxury as far as, couples, because I think that when you're there and you're just, having those experiences, obviously you can be very athletic. If you like to ski, if you like to snowboard even, this is the perfect place to do it and the perfect time to do it. And if you'd like to learn to do that before you're having social experiences with other people and they're kind of like measuring you up by whether or not you've had these experiences, right? I think that, like it might be healthy to just go and see if skiing is something that you like, or if you're more of like an après ski girl, if you're more so like somebody who like maybe you watch the boys ski, you watch your husband, his friends, like kind of like ski and like do their thing, and then you're there for the after party, right? Because a lot of women are like that too. I think that this can be a great way to kind of like discover that kind of thing about yourself. But this is also a place where it's, again, like just really healthy to go to experience things, to people watch, and to start to, like network and mingle and build your network, right? So that you start to really understand the kind of, relationship dynamics that are, like abundant in the affluent community. Because what you're going to see very shortly is that this idea of like, that, men are masculine providers, that they are the ones who are making it happen in their relationships. That this is not some like radical idea that exists on the internet, right? I think that it's very important for you to see that this is just the reality, like the plain observable, the way that the world is for many, many people, that, men are the providers and that women are natural receivers, that they are there, for other purposes, and that they have a different role in their relationship than their male counterparts. And starting to see this more traditional relationship dynamic, again, off the internet, for somebody who does not have, like this nasty or negative intention towards you, somebody who's not trying to basically convince you to be some sort of, excuse my language here, but like sex slave, or to like, I don't know, like lure you into like some weird harem. Right? Like, this is not that. This is just, people going on about their lives, living their normal everyday lives. And you can really start to understand what their relationship dynamics are, who they are as people and why they live the way that they do. And I think that that is, again, like very healthy to take this discourse, to move it off of the internet, and to really just start to understand people in the way that they live in the real world. Finally, we have Lower Manhattan, New York. Now, I'm very specific here when I say Lower Manhattan, right? Because I think that, it's very common that there are, Black people who are familiar, Black women who are familiar with being in the Black community of New York. Maybe you know people who are, from New York, and they're a certain way. They are, very Harlem. They're very, like Bronx. They're, Queens or something like that. And that is a very particular experience that, of course it's more common to have, but Lower Manhattan specifically is an entirely different ball game when it comes to New York. Now, just for context here, New York actually has the densest concentration of billionaires anywhere in the world. Like, New York City is that place, and all types of, international business goes on in New York, particularly in Manhattan. It's the place to be, right? So when you talk about like places like Chelsea Pier or, Billionaires Row, whatever, as far as like Lower Manhattan, right, whatever's piqued your interest in that area, that's where it's all happening. Anything that is international, that is, touching many different countries on the planet, right? It is large and by far, like, it has a presence in New York City right here. So you meet a lot of people who do business on that level in this space, and it's very healthy for you to be out and about and to get some, experience networking in this area. So it's a really good investment for yourself, in my opinion, just to build up your network if you're a Black woman in America. And I also think that this has a lot to show and teach you, right? It really helps recontextualize what it is to live this kind of, billionaire lifestyle. It's just like an everyday person who is, like running around the city like everybody else. It teaches you that, having all of this money doesn't mean that every part of your day is this glamorous fantasy. It really teaches you what luxury looks like when, like the rubber meets the road, when it really comes into you living your everyday reality with this level of wealth. And I think that just existing in this ecosystem, existing in this particular space, right, not going to Harlem, not going to Queens or the Bronx or wherever, but specifically staying in Lower Manhattan, right, living there for a period of time. Maybe that's a week for you, maybe that's a month for you. But just traveling there, living there, experiencing what that has to offer, and really starting to understand what your reality looks like in that context, meeting other people, etc. I think that really recontextualizes what, money can do for people. And I think that that's a huge investment to make in your mental level up. Now, ladies, I'm going to keep this short and go ahead and end the video here because I've been talking for all eternity. It's a Sunday morning when I'm recording this. The birds are chirping outside, and I am going to go and enjoy the sunshine. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, then please leave it a like below and check out the rest of the videos on my channel. If you're interested in leveling up hypergamy, femininity, etc., I would love to have you here. Until my next video, I'll see you then.